Hey everybody, it's Alexander Dahl with Manifest Vitality once again. So here we are at the end of Wave 5. It's been fun. We had a good wave, a good group of interviews for Wave 5 as opposed to the way I meant to say that. So we're probably going to give it a month or a month and a half or so, and then we'll start booking for the next wave and we'll just keep this thing going. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into this one. All right, bye. All right, so I'm currently on the phone with the guys of Big Murder. They're another group that reached out to me about the interview series going on, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the opportunity to introduce themselves.
Hey, what's up, Alexander? This is Marcus David. I'm the singer, lead guitarist, songwriter, and Big Murder's based out of Atlanta. So the second guy to join over here is
My name's Evan Buckler. I play drums and a little bit of vox.
My name is Randy Hall. I came in as the third member, and I play bass and keyboards and sing backup vocals.
Awesome. So I always like to get information about how people first got into music and what about it was important to them. So why don't you guys each take a turn, kind of sharing a little bit about how you first identified with music.
Okay, this is Randy. When I was 15, all of a sudden I realized that I could play all kinds of instruments, and prior to that, I really didn't. And it was the weirdest thing, but I heard Frampton Comes Alive album. Do you feel like we do? And that kind of dates me. But all of a sudden, I just sat down at a piano and started playing it. And I was like, holy crap, I know how to play piano. I just kind of understood how to do it. And then I picked up guitar, and it was the same kind of thing. There was a band actually when I was 15 that was auditioning bass players, and I said I play bass, which was a lie because I never had. And I went out and bought a cheap K bass at a garage sale and showed up to practice, and I just started jamming with them, and they never knew that that was my first shot at playing bass. So when I was 15, that's when it all happened, and I've been in love with music ever since then.
Nice.
This is Evan. I started playing drums around age 10. Got really big into punk rock. Actually, ironically enough, I started playing drums to jazz and then went into different genres, rock, country, metal, you name it. I'd like to play it. Likes to have a little variety in genres. But um, I was in various bands throughout high school and college. Went to college a little bit for music and then decided to switch to business. That's about it.
so Marcus here. I grew up around music. My parents were music nutcases. They listened to it constantly. They never played much music. I know my dad had played instruments in the past, but it was more just they loved music. And I played a little bit of saxophone and guitar when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, but it never really stuck until I got to college and I got my first electric guitar. And I decided to become Alex Lifeson, and David Gilmour and Jimmy Page. Those are my heroes, and I just listened to everything by ear and learned how to play by ear, and I've been playing, writing ever since.
Awesome. So aside from maybe Randy, how long would you say it took you before you were comfortable playing with other people?
Right away. I had two roommates that both played guitar when I was in college, so we would just they showed me how to do it, and we just play all the time. So I always clicked with other people. I need other people. I mean, I can write by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I noodle more than anything. I don't really write by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been collaborative for me. I always like to feed off of other people's energy. But it came naturally.
Okay.
I think it took about 5 years before I started playing with them. I don't think it was really by choice. It was more of there was no one when I was 10 or 11 that wanted to join a band. So I was about 15, 16. That's when I started joining bands in high school and
Okay. And would each of you kind of say it was around like the high school, college era when you first started looking to join and get into bands?
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. And so once you did kind of start down that path, how did you find the process of working with the other musicians to kind of figure out the style of music that you actually wanted to make?
That's a weird question, but I mean, I think all of us have kind of a roots in rock music.
Mm-hmm.
I should say that we tend to gravitate towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, trying not to speak for the whole group, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what we, and personally, I've always been that way. I actually played in jazz bands and R&B bands, and it's just, it's kind of fun to apply those rock and roll licks to a jazz style, but it's still in my brain, it's still rock.
Sure, and I suppose what I meant by that question is, with the myriad of band members that we all kind of go through, trying to get to the band that we actually feel comfortable with. We're always kind of compromising our style to fit into the group style kind of thing. And so that's what I mean. Working with the other musicians, how long was it until you were comfortable in a situation where you felt there wasn't a compromise?
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly writing my own stuff, and when you write a song, and a lot of times if you're a multi instrumentalist, you think about you write the guitar, you write the bass, you write the groove or the beat, you got it all in your head. Then you bring it into the band, and you're like, what the hell just happened? It's hard to let go of. But once I realized that the collaborative effort of everyone working together with their different spin on everything, it ends out better than if I keep it all to myself and just do it all myself. So
Mm-hmm.
that definitely applies here. And by the time I got into the Big Murder Band, I was more than happy to collaborate with these guys and just let whatever happens happens. And that's the coolest part about being in a band.
Especially an original band. I mean, I
Yeah.
came from cover bands, in college and a little bit when I moved here to Atlanta in the '90s. But and so yeah, you're playing stuff that when you're a cover artist, obviously, you know, somebody else is picking the music, but
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what's compromised a lot of times. But
Okay. And so with the situation that you guys are in now, um, how do you find like how do you work towards the writing process?
most of the time, we somebody will bring something to the table. Riff. Randy's better about bringing like almost complete music because he plays drums, he plays keys, he can do all that stuff. And then we usually will throw all that stuff out and put our own spin. But me, like I just bring a riff usually because I'm a riff noodler. I mean, I can come up with riffs all day long, but the ones that I like, I will present, and then you know, usually Randy will take the ropes and say, what about this, and have you thought about this, and so that's kind of our typical process.
The other thing we do sometimes is we just, the minute we plug in our instruments, we warm up with some kind of an improv.
Oh yeah,
And if we stumble on something that just is really catchy and we really like it, we'll record it real quick just on the fly, just so that we don't forget any of it. And that's the other method we use sometimes.
Excellent. So how long have you guys been together?
Since 2015, yeah. So,
Okay, so about 6 years, 6 years plus. Awesome. So where are you guys at? Are you recording and writing, producing records, looking to get out, play shows? What current phase are you in?
well, right now we're at the studio okay. No, we put an album out last year, um, and we're constantly writing, but we don't really have much finished right now. So I think that's our next step is to finish up some stuff, and we may start doing singles because it's just easier to focus on one track, get it done. Because we have a tendency to not finish things because we all have other lives outside of the band. But we started to play some shows. We had a festival booked that got canceled because of COVID. We did play a show, I guess about 2 weeks ago now, and that went really well. It was in a big club, but the ones that we had booked after that were in small facilities, so we kind of asked if we could put those on hold until we figure out what's going on with this COVID thing. So.
Sure, that has definitely put a damper on a lot of things. And along the lines of what you mentioned about focusing on singles, what do you think like your release cadence for that would be? Like one every few months or so?
Yeah, one a week. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some friends that are doing one track every month and working really well for them. I'd kind of like to follow in that. That's for us. That's maybe a little over optimistic. We tend to be kind of slow putting stuff together, but I'm thinking maybe if we focus on that, maybe we'll get a little bit better at it. You know, just pick one song at a time, and because we have about 30 tracks right now that are in everywhere from just the guitar riff up to guitars and some vocals. So
Yeah, we'll put them on the whiteboard. We've got a whiteboard.
yeah,
Mhm.
I ran whiteboard.
Yeah, well, the whiteboard needs to get refilled in with the new project, and and it's all the stages of production from just the song structure, the skeleton, and then lay down drums, lay down all the instruments, put in vocals, write lyrics. So we kind of have them in different stages of finality. But yeah, I like the idea of doing one a month if we could get it together.
It definitely seems to be kind of the way that the industry is moving towards, and I suppose I'm using that word a bit loosely. I don't mean like the mainstream music industry. I just mean like the attention span of the consumer. You constantly have to be putting stuff out there to remind people that you're there and that you're still working on stuff.
There's a lot of noise out there too. So
yeah. So, what are some really strong memories that you guys have about participating in music, or whether it be like going to a show or a rehearsal or playing a show, something that happened to you? What sort of things stick out in your mind?
The club that we were going to play next weekend. This is probably a story I tell a lot is. Between sets, I was standing up by the bar and somebody threw up on me. And then when we got back to start playing, somebody was bleeding and I got blood all over me. And that's rock and roll. I mean, that's just kind of, to me, that's like, but everybody, had an amazing time. We have a lot of energy, or I should say, I have a lot of energy. I don't know about you guys. But,
yeah, whatever.
But we try to project that energy, and I mean, I can't think of any other shows that are just more stick out in my mind than getting thrown up on and bled on the same night.
Yeah, that's like living the dream, man.
Oh, yeah. Can't top that.
You can't top that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then we'll leave it at the rock and roll, vomit, and blood story. So what are some good social media links for you guys? Where can people check out what you're doing?
Everything is centered around our website, which is just bigmurder.com. If you try to go to Facebook, it's everything, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything is Big Murder without the E, because they wouldn't let me use the word murder in the URL. So, but the best thing to do is anybody wants, our Spotify, everything, there's links on our website.
All right. And I always like to give the people that I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So like a message that, you feel you kind of resonate with.
Well, I mean, this band, we bill ourselves as kind of a mixture of Foo Fighters and Radiohead. And this kind of goes back to what Randy was saying earlier. We have a lot of different influences. We come from different backgrounds musically, and that's our experimental side or the Radiohead side. But we love to have fun. We do this because we want to be on a stage. That's the ultimate for all of us is just to be there to perform. And that's where that Foo Fighters thing comes in, because you know, if you ever seen those guys, they go out and have a blast
Hmm.
every time. And
Yeah.
that's just
There's nothing like looking out into the crowd and seeing everyone having big smiles and getting into it and having a good time. I think that's probably when we write music more and more. We're thinking about that aspect of it, and you know, we don't want to depress the hell out of everybody and have a storm cloud over our heads. Now and then we touch on little headier issues, but I think we want to focus on being high energy and fun and play a show that people are really going to have a good time.